To understand this incredible story, we must go back 24 years to when, in the small Tambov village of Kashina, on the banks of the quiet Tsna River, 3 boys were born in a single hut on the same night. It was March 21, 1918. Their mother, Anna Stepanovna, was exhausted but happy. Their father, Fyodor Vasilievich, a former soldier in the First World War, lame and stern, ran to fetch the midwife 3 times, thinking something was wrong. But the midwife only shrugged. Twins, Pyotr, I've never seen anything like them in my entire life. 3 peas in a pod. Single quote. And indeed, 3 peas in a pod. Mikhail, Ivan, and Fyodor Panteleev. When they were 6 years old, even their mother sometimes confused them. They were the same height, the same voices, the same birthmarks on their left shoulders. They laughed the same way, too. First Mikhail, a second later Ivan, a second later Fyodor. Like an echo in a ravine. The village of Kashin was ordinary. 120 households. A church, a 4-grade school, and the Red Plowman collective farm. There are thousands of such villages in Russia. But in Kashin, there was always something to boast about. We have those very same Panteleevs, 3 brothers, just like in a fairy tale. Single quote. The brothers grew up strong and hardworking. They worked together at the mill from childhood. Mikhail, the eldest, 17 minutes older than Ivan and 42 minutes older than Fyodor, was in charge of the millstones. His hands were strong, he could sling a sack of grain over his shoulder with one hand. He was calm and spoke little, but when he did, it was like a death sentence. If Mikhail said, "It will rain," it meant it. If he said, "This man is lying," it meant it. Ivan, the middle brother, was the miller's assistant. He had golden hands. He could make anything out of 3 sticks and a piece of wire. Neighbors brought him broken watches, irons, and locks. He fixed them and never took money. "Come on, I'm just interested," he smiled. Lively and fond of jokes, he became serious and completely focused when working. Fyodor was the youngest, a grain handler. He received the grain, weighed it, and recorded it. He was the skinniest, 2 kilograms lighter than his brothers, but the most resilient. He could carry sacks from dawn to dusk without tiring. Stubborn as an ox. Once he'd made up his mind, no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't convince him otherwise. The brothers joked, Fetka goes wherever he sets his mind. Single quote. Each had his own girlfriend. Mikhail quietly courted Daria, the blacksmith's daughter. A hard-working, quiet woman who baked delicious pies. He promised to propose after the harvest. Ivan doted on Nastya Vorobyova, an elementary school teacher. A beauty with a waist-length braid, gray eyes, and an accordion player. He wanted to get married in the summer of 41. Fyodor had a few girls, but never really any serious ones. When I find the right one, you'll find out. Single quote. They lived simply, amicably, inseparably. Little did they know that 24 years later, their similarity, their brotherhood, their skills. Mikhail's strength, Ivan's ability to fix anything, Fyodor's endurance, would save not only themselves but also a piece of Stalingrad. Because there, in the ruins of workshop number 7, 3 would become 1. One for all for one. And then came the war. June 22, 1941. Sunday, hot, dust rising like a cloud over the mill. Mikhail was checking the millstones. Ivan was greasing the axle, Fyodor was unloading a cart of rye. At midday, a boy from the village council came running. War. The Germans have attacked. Fyodor couldn't believe it at first. How could this be? There was a treaty, after all? Mikhail silently dropped his work and went home to get ready. Ivan, confused, stood there with an oily rag in his hands, then ran to Nastya at school. She was crying, holding his hand. "Don't go, hide." ... Ivan stroked her hair and said nothing. What could he say? That evening, the whole family gathered in the yard. Their father, Fyodor Vasilievich, shell-shocked in World War I, smoked a hand-rolled cigarette and looked at his sons. He knew they would take all three of them. Mother baked pancakes, her hands shaking, and the pancakes came out crooked. Sister Maria hugged her brothers and cried. The brothers ate in silence, then Mikhail stood up. Father, bless me. Father placed his hand on each of their heads in turn and said, Stay together, no matter what. One for all for one. Understood, Mikhail replied. Understood, Ivan repeated. Understood, Fyodor was the last to respond. On the morning of June 23rd, 52 men from Kashin arrived at the Tambov military registration and enlistment office. Among them were the three Panteleev brothers. They were assigned to the same unit, the same battalion, the same company. The company commander, Captain Gromov, seeing three identical men, simply shook his head. Are you kidding me? Is that one person or three? Three, comrade captain. Twins. Triplets, they answered one after the other. Okay, said Gromov, I'll assign you to a machine gun crew. It'll be easier together. Single quote. The first battle was near Bryansk, August 1941. Heat, dust, a column of German tanks was breaking through. The company received orders to delay them for at least 2 hours. Mikhail took cover behind a Maxim machine gun, Ivan carried ammunition, and Fyodor was an observer. The Germans approached within 400 meters. Fire. The rattle of a machine gun, the clank of a bolt, the smell of gunpowder. The German infantry lay down, and the tanks fired their cannons. The battle lasted exactly 2 hours. On the field were 37 corpses, 3 destroyed motorcycles, and 1 burning armored personnel carrier. The brothers were unharmed, not a scratch. That evening, by the campfire, Captain Gromov approached them. Well done, Panteleevs. Mikhail is a natural machine gunner, Ivan is quick on his feet, Fyodor is holding his own. If you want to survive, stick together. Father said it right. The brothers were silent, but each thought his own. Together, there's a chance. The winter of 41-42 passed near Moscow, in the Istra region. It was minus 30 degrees, the machine gun was freezing over. They heated water in the casing. Mikhail learned to shoot in the dark by sound. The Germans nicknamed him, the Russian Devil. They didn't know there were 3 devils. Ivan could fix a bolt by feel in 30 seconds. Fyodor didn't sleep for 3 days. He stood guard, counted the Germans, and memorized their positions. By spring, the company had shrunk from 120 to 43 men. Captain Gromov was killed in March by shrapnel in the neck. The new commander, Senior Lieutenant Rybakov, seeing 3 identical men, asked, Is this luck or trouble? Mikhail replied, Luck, comrade Senior Lieutenant. When one gets tired, another will take over. We're like one machine. Rybakov chuckled, smart. Stick together. Single quote. In the summer of 42, they were transferred south. 100 kilometers on foot under the scorching sun. Sergeant Major Sedek grumbled, They say we're going to Stalingrad. It'll be a meat grinder there. Factories, workshops, bricks. No place for loners. The brothers exchanged glances. They hadn't intended to be loners. They were already one machine, one soldier. They just didn't know they'd soon have to prove it in the hell known as the Red October factory. They arrived in Stalingrad on August 21, 1942. The city was already burning. German bombers came in waves, dropping incendiary charges and high explosive shells. And the Volga was a continuous conflagration. The brothers stood on the bank and watched their country drown in flames. Fyodor quietly said, My God. ... Mikhail was silent, and Ivan thought, We're not getting out of here, but said nothing out loud. They were sent to the 62nd Army, to General Rodimtsev's division, to the Krasny Oktyabr factory. On August 23, the battle for the workshops began. The Germans advanced in lines, fell, rose again, and advanced again. The brothers were stationed in the ruins of workshop number 7. A dilapidated building, 4 walls, a half-collapsed roof, a bomb crater in the corner. Mikhail set up a Maxim machine gun by the opening in the window. The view was perfect. The street, the field in front of the factory. An open shooting range. "It's nice here," he said. Ivan looked around. "It's nice, but there's almost no escape." Fyodor knocked on the wall. "It's strong, they won't smoke us out quickly." Single quote. Senior Lieutenant Rybakov peered in. "Panteleev's, the task is simple. Hold this opening at any cost. This is a key point. If they break through here, we'll lose the entire factory." "Yes," they answered in unison. The three of them embraced tightly. Like brothers, unaware that these were their last peaceful moments. From August 24 onward, hell began. Artillery, attacks, mortars, tanks. The brothers fought off wave after wave, counting the dead with chalk on the wall. In the first few days, hundreds of bodies lay in the field. Ammunition was delivered at night. There was almost no water, and they slept fitfully in the trench, huddled together. By August 27, everyone was at their limit. Their hands were bloody, their eyes watering from the smoke. Fyodor had been wounded in the leg by shrapnel, but he was holding on. On the night of the 27th, Mikhail lay there, staring at the soot-blackened sky, and suddenly thought, "What if we can't be killed?" The idea came to him. 3 of them, identical as drops of water. The Germans couldn't tell us apart. Let them take turns manning the machine gun. 6 hours each. The machine gun would fire almost non-stop, day and night. The Germans would think there was just one man here who wasn't sleeping, eating, or dying. They'd be scared. I woke up my brothers and told them. Fyodor thought, "That's logical. 3 of us will hold out longer." Ivan added, "It's crazy, but it might work." We decided. We'll start in the morning. Mikhail is first shift, Fyodor is second, Ivan is third. Circle after circle. If one is wounded, another takes his place immediately. The Germans mustn't realize there are 3 of us. On August 28, at 6 in the morning, Mikhail took up his machine gun. From then on, the Maxim hardly stopped firing. The Germans advanced and fell. They advanced again and fell again. Snipers tried to target the gunner. But every time one crouched down to rest, another appeared in his place. The fire never ceased. Strange entries appeared in German reports. Russian machine gunner has been firing for 18 hours without a break. Several camouflaged machine guns are suspected, snipers are unable to destroy it. After hitting it, fire resumes from the same spot. Single quote. A captured German later told Sergeant Major Sedek. In their unit, there was a legend about a Russian ghost who never died. They were truly afraid of him. For 9 days and nights, 3 brothers were 1 soldier. 1 machine gun, 1 face, 1 hands. 719 chalk marks on the wall. Wounds, concussions, blood. But the position was held. They didn't just survive. They scared the enemy and gave the army time to bring up reserves. Workshop number 7 didn't fall. A piece of Stalingrad remained ours thanks to 3 twins from a Tambov village, who became 1 immortal machine gunner. 1 for all for 1. On September 6, at dawn, fresh companies arrived at the ruins of workshop number 7. Young soldiers, clean tunics, clean-shaven faces. At the head of the line was Captain Kravtsov, mustachioed and stocky. "Where are the Panteleevs?" he shouted. Mikhail tried to stand, swayed, and Fyodor caught him. The captain approached and looked at the 3 wounded. Gray with fatigue, their bandages soaked with blood. "Are you? ... The ones who held the workshop for 9 days?" "Yes, sir, comrade captain." Kravtsov remained silent, then extended his hand. We're relieving you. Go to the rear, get some rest. You've earned it. Single quote. The brothers gathered their meager belongings and walked through the ruins. The soldiers watched them with respect. One young fighter whispered, "I thought there was a whole company of them, but there are only 3 of them." Dot. Dot. Along the way, they were stopped. "Are you the Panteleevs? Is it true there are 700 Germans?" Fyodor corrected him. 719. Someone handed them water, bread, or simply patted them on the shoulder. In the medical battalion, a nurse, seeing them, froze. "Are you the ones?" She bandaged them and quietly said, "My son fought in the neighboring workshop. He wrote about a ghost machine gunner who never stopped firing. He said, 'As long as he keeps firing, we'll hold out.' Thank you," from his mother. Mikhail only nodded, the words stuck in his throat. On September 7, they were summoned to the division commander, General Rodimtsev. He rose from the table, looked at the 3 wounded twins for a long time, then said, "You didn't just hold the workshop. You saved a section of the front, and perhaps all of Stalingrad. Over these 9 days, we brought up reserves, fortified ourselves. Do you understand?" The brothers were silent. They simply held their position as ordered. Rodimtsev handed over 3 papers. Order of the Red Banner for each. Approved by the front commander. A week later, at divisional parade, the general personally pinned the medals to their tunics. The division gave a standing ovation. A Krasnaya Zvezda correspondent asked, "How did you do it?" Mikhail replied, "We worked in turns. While one was shooting, the others were resting. We were twins, identical. The Germans thought we were one." The article was published under the headline, "3 Brothers, 1 Hero." The story spread across the entire front, through the rear, and through hospitals. The brothers became legends even in their lifetime. They wanted to send them to a propaganda brigade, to visit units, to raise morale. Mikhail refused. A soldier's place is at the front. They remained in the ranks. They fought until February 1943, until Paulus's capitulation. They saw columns of German prisoners, ragged and hungry. Mikhail thought, "We killed 719, but there are tens of thousands of them. Defeated. Not in vain." Single quote. Then. Kursk, Ukraine, Belarus, Poland, Berlin. Always together, in a single machine gun crew. The commanders cherished. Don't separate the Panteleevs. 3 of them are worth a platoon. On May 9, 1945, they stood at the Reichstag, looked at the red flag, cried. Without shame. We lived to see it. Together. They returned home in the summer of 1945. The village greeted them with a huge crowd. Their mother hugged all 3 of them at once, not letting go. Their father silently embraced them and said, "Well done, you listened to your father." Darya waited for Mikhail, Nastya for Ivan. Fyodor also found his soulmate. They married and had children. They lived nearby, and every Sunday, large families gathered. They rarely talked about the war. It was painful. Only sometimes, late at night, on the porch, under the stars. Remember workshop number 7? I remember. Remember how you came up with the plan, Misha? I remember. They were silent, smoking. One for all, Fyodor said quietly. All for one, the brothers replied. After the war, German historians found reports from the 6th Army. A ghost Russian machine gunner. Dot. Dot. The fire never stops. Dot. Dot. The snipers can't destroy him. Dot. Dot. They read the Soviet archives and realized. Not a ghost. 3 twin brothers. One for all for one. Mikhail died in 1983, Fyodor in 1991, Ivan in 2000, living to see the new century. In the cemetery in Kashin, there are 3 identical monuments side by side. Under each is the same line. Hero of Stalingrad. One for all for one. Single quote. Their story lives on. Grandchildren and great-grandchildren tell stories, schoolchildren come, veterans stand silently. About 3 boys from a Tambov village who, in the hell of Stalingrad, became one immortal soldier. About a brotherhood that proved stronger than death.